It's a very good morning to the Gelding on what one would consider a lovely day for the getting towards the end of autumn gelding and racing again at Caulfield, a 9-race program, the first at 12:10. The feature race 6, the Showdown, a 2-year-old race gelding. Now, what do you know about the Showdown? Because I did a Google and I couldn't find very much about it at all.
Well, Professor, good morning to yourself and good morning to the listeners. Today's meeting, Professor, and Drop the Mic was being considered for one of these races. It's basically a Vobis race meeting. The Victorian Owners and Breeders Scheme, which is at it's one of their main days. So they put up a lot of sponsorship, excuse me, Professor, into this meeting. So the Showdown's an event that's been devised around this kind of scheme, Professor. $1 million race for 2-year-olds. So, basically at the end of the 2-year-old season. So it gives a lot of these owners a chance to buy expensive horses that are qualified for this Vobis scheme. And if they're not early developers and in the hunt for the Blue Diamond, Golden Slipper kind of things, if something happens to them and they've just 3 months behind in their preparation, then all of a sudden they've got this as a target race. So you've got to say $1 million prize money, in late April after Easter, fantastic event.
Yeah, especially when there's not much happening in Victoria at the moment in racing.
Well, that's right. So, a bit of positive kind of news for what should be a good meeting. But as you can see, Professor, there's a $500,000 race, a couple of $250,000 races. So it's a lot of money given away today. But I'm just a bit interested, as you said, Professor, there's always, since they go from 8 races to 9, there's one race worth $75,000. And I know that was a race that Drop the Mic was looking at, but you've got the race after it is $200,000. Then race 3 is worth $500,000. And then you've got race 4's $250,000. And you go to 200,000, $1 million, 250, 250, and 160. So I don't know where the 75 kind of misses out, Professor. That's not even a normal Saturday's meeting.
No, it's not gelding, but I guess, hey, 1 out of 9 ain't bad, is it?
Oh, well, a lot of money going around, but weird. And surprisingly enough, or oddly enough, that had the biggest attraction of horses.
Yes, the biggest field.
So very, very weird.
All right, Gelding, the track's rated a good 4, and with the weather today, I don't think that'll change. The rail's out 6 metres for the entire circuit. What are your 2 best bets for today?
Well, Professor, I did a bit of a walk before. Perfect day for racing. No excuses. Caulfield, not hot, but a nice sunny day. No wind around. Track was a soft 5 earlier in the week. So hopefully the Melbourne Racing Club hasn't put water on any part of it to damage it. So again, I'm expecting a fair track. And of course, being Caulfield, will be looking for front runners, Professor. So my two bets are very late in the day. Professor, I'm going the last 2 races. Race 8, horse number 3, Junipel, trained by Ma Eustace, ridden by Johnny Allen. Last 2 runs, if you have a look at it, Professor, 6 and 9. Don't look encouraging, but this horse last spell had a fantastic preparation. Went well. It's dropping back significantly in class today, Professor. So that's what I like about it. And I think the Ma Eustace team, which has got this horse, will have this horse firing after 2 runs in stronger company and hopefully dropping back to its old home track at Caulfield. can add to its 6 wins that it's had already, Professor, from its 27 starts. Johnny Allen on board, barrier 6, should jump perfectly, just be sitting behind them or even leading, and I think can go on and win the race. My second tip, Professor, is race 9, number 9, Extreme Warrior. As you know, Professor, I knew one of the owners of Extreme Warrior. They've sold this horse for $10 million to Rosemont Stud just before the Coolmore last spring. So it ran in the Coolmore, ran 10th to Group 1, but it's come back for one final preparation before it goes off to stud, Professor. So obviously the new owners, Rosemont Stud, are looking to win a Group 1 race, either in Brisbane or in Adelaide. So I just can't see them risking the value of this horse by racing it in a $160,000 race, unless they're trying to build up to something, Professor, and every race will be important for this horse. It's won a couple of jump outs, so Mick Price and Michael Kent Jr. will have the horse cherry right. It put Jamie Carr on board, Professor. I just think it could be the bet of the day. So started off at 280 during the start of the week, Professor, and has been backed in for $2 even money. So I think this might be a nice little end to the parlay, Professor, just to double your money. So my 2 tips for today are late in the day: race 8, number 3, Junipel, and race 9, number 9, Extreme Warrior. And you like, Professor?
Yeah, I'm going a little bit earlier than you, Gelding. Race 4, the Vovis Gold Heath, a 2,000 metre race for set weights and penalties. I like in that race, Gelding, horse 2, Grand Slam, coming out of barrier 10, had 13 starts for 2 wins and 3 placings, gives it a 15% win rate, 38% place rate. The win rate's probably a little bit under what we like or feel comfortable with, but this horse has won a Group 2 over 2,000 metres. That was the Alistair Clark Stakes last year. It beat another horse we've followed, Gelding, Young Werther.
Yep.
And its last start was 3rd at Flemington, and it lost to Pondus. Now, that was a great finish from Pondus in that race. So horse 2, Grand Slam, Jamie Carr in the saddle, 17% career win rate. She's not quite doing that at the moment, but let's face it, she's coming back after that spell. And Ma Eustace in great form over the last 20%, Gelding. So
they're winning everything, Professor. And as you said, this may be the quality horse in the field. It's running a lot stronger races than this. That run of Pondus, as you said, was fantastic. The Pondus form's probably dropped off a bit after its last run. But if you go, when Pondus beat her, it was flying, and probably Pondus's career peak run. And next start came out and ran 2nd in the Mornington Cup. So it's a pretty good form line, Professor. I noticed one of your previous tips is also going around in this, Professor.
Yes, it is, Gelding. I don't like it today.
Oh, Professor.
I've jumped off. I hope that's not a bad omen, Gelding.
Okay. The relationship's over with It's No Done Deal?
Yes, I was exceptionally disappointed by its run last time, and I looked at the film of it again this morning just to make sure that I didn't like it, and I liked it even less when I looked at it this morning.
Oh, very good, Professor.
Gelding, it reopened old wounds. Like, I'm all for getting over things, but having to watch my money go down the drain for a second time, I didn't enjoy it at all.
Oh, beautiful, Professor.
The other thing about Grand Slam, Gelding, is it started out a lot longer earlier in the week. I got $2.25 this morning. My prediction is that it'll start under $2.
Yeah, I think maybe every chance of that, Professor. As I said, it was a horse touted for the derbies. It's up in distance now. It's had 2 prep runs. It should be hitting its peak. Today, the 3rd run in should be its peak run. So let's hope, Professor.
I was going to say exactly the same thing, Gelding. We're selling hope on this one.
Oh, no, we're not selling hope, Professor.
No,
we like it.
Yeah, we do. My second tip, Gelding, race 5, the Vobis Gold Dash, over 1,100 metres, 3-year-old race with set weights and penalties. I've gone for a bit of value here, Gelding, and the reason why I think it's value is I think the track record of the horse hasn't been taken into account. I got $8 this morning on this horse, so I'm pretty confident on this. Horse 2, Arcaded, coming out of barrier 7, had 9 starts for 3 wins and a placing, so it's got a 33% win rate, a 44% place rate. What I like about it, Gelding, is it's won at the track, and when it won at the track, it was running in a Group 2 race, the Blue Diamond Prelude.
Yep.
Now, it was well beaten by Artorias in the Blue Diamond, but I
think everyone was well beaten by
yes.
Artorias in the Blue Diamond.
That's right, Gelding, but it's still good form to win a Group 2. It's also won a Group 3 at Rose Hill as a 2-year-old, the Magic Knight Stakes. It's a Street Boss filly, and it's won over the distance. So when I add all of those things up, and I can get $8, I'm thinking that's good each way value for punters.
Yes, like your thought pattern there, Professor. As we say, every week, and as you well know, me as a punter does do like the Blue Army. Oliver hops on board, as you said, $8, double each way value, Professor. This will be what, $240, $250 a place.
Yes, Gelding.
You can run top 3 and still make a profit, Professor. So, and then you got that lovely little $8 sitting there. I like it, Professor. So should be good value. Bit worried about a couple in this, Professor, being Scissor Step and Midwest, but as I said, do like your pick and your thought pattern and the reasoning behind it. Let them get up to its level.
Yes, Gelding. Look, one thing about the Blue Army and James Cummings in career form at the moment, over his career as a whole, 16% win rate. Over his last 50, 24%. So that's nearly a quarter of the runners he's saddling up are winning. The other thing I like, Gelding, is if you have a look at his career place bet, 45%. Now, that's incredible. That means that every time, almost half the times he saddles a horse, it's going to run in the placings.
Yeah. And my theory on why that is so, Professor, is because they have that many horses. They're able to put their horses in the right races. Not like an owner, say, like myself, who's got a share in one type of horse. Sometimes you might aim a bit too high for the horse's ability. Of course, with so many horses and things like that, they put them in races where they have, winnable chances, Professor. And, you could go worse than, picking the Blue Army horses that you think can win and then backing them for a place, Professor. Maybe a nice little betting strategy.
Well, Gelding, you'd be on a winning strategy there if you simply backed the Blue Army horses for a place.
Yeah. So, as you said, they've got plenty of horses, Professor. So, yeah, I like the thinking there.
All right. So my horses for today: race 4, horse 2, Grand Slam; race 5, horse 2, Arcaded. The Professor's Parlay, Gelding.
Professor.
Very successful at picking 2 legs of a parlay. There were cheers when we got the horse up last week, but we suffered from Deligan's last leg syndrome.
He's got the jinx on Gelding, hasn't he?
The West Tigers. Gelding,
How does the West Tigers get up, Professor? Really?
I spoke with Paul Deligan, and I said I watched the first half of that, and I didn't watch the second half because I didn't think that Parramatta would win. A bottom side with a huge points differential in the negative. I just don't see how they won, but they did. Anyway,
Yeah.
I'm banking that Lightning won't strike twice today, Gelding.
That's rugby league, Professor.
All right, the agreed bet of the day for us in the horses, Gelding, is race 9, horse 9, Extreme Warrior. That's a black booker of mine, so
Yep.
I'm very happy with your selection in that. And let's parlay that into Daligan's South Sydney Rabbitohs.
Oh, Professor, who are they playing?
They're playing the West Tigers.
Oh, no. Don't do it to me, Professor. Oh, no. The side that kicked us out of the parlay last week.
Yeah, that's what I said, Gelding. I'm banking that Lightning doesn't strike twice. The Rabbitohs are 7th on the ladder. They've won 3 from 6, a plus 22 points differential. The West Tigers are still second last, even after the win, Gelding. They've won 1 from 6, minus 63 points differential. The only team worse than them in the whole league, Gelding, is my Canterbury Bulldogs, who didn't win last night. They're almost a lock to be in the Professor's parlay as losing in the future, Gelding.
Okay, Professor. You know the form.
I do. And let's parlay that into a team that can't be beaten at the moment, the Penrith Panthers, on top, 6 wins from 6 starts, a plus 106 points differential to beat the very disappointing Canberra Raiders, who are languishing Gelding at 11th. 2 wins.
Very good, Professor. I like it.
2 wins from 6 starts, minus 32 points differential. And I can get $1.10 from the Penrith Panthers. So that's almost like money in the bank, Gelding.
Oh, Professor, as I said to you off air this morning, is looking very much like an AFL NRL double at the moment. So your side, Melbourne's in fantastic form, and of course the Penrith Panthers are just beating everything in front of them. So yes, so it might be a good weekend for the favourites, hopefully, Professor.
Well, we hope, Gelding. The Professor's parlay showing 3-1.
Nice odds, Professor. Nice little odds. A nice little win. Be good. I counted the money too early last week, so hopefully we can count it this week.
Well, we can certainly say that, Gelding. All right, Sportsfan Radio back again tomorrow at midday. And one of the big discussions, Gelding, is arms out.
Yeah, dissent, eh? It's a hot topic at the moment, Professor. How would Gelding go?
Oh, that's your question for him tomorrow, I figure.
Mate, how much dissent does he show? You have a drink with him and your beer's in danger with the way he talks.
And also
with his hands.
It certainly is, Gelding. Tell me this, Gelding, how much real estate would you have given up during your career for arms out?
Oh, dear, Professor. The abuse that you've heard on the footy field and cricket field, yeah, interesting.
Also, a new podcast released on the Sportsfan Radio podcast this week. Sean Ryan, remember when we spoke to him after he finished his career in 2020? Well, that's up as a podcast. A very interesting listen, Gelding. And next week, Simone Wern, the youngest admittee to the Australian Baseball Hall of Fame, who we've now spoken to 3 times on Sportsfan Radio.
Yes, very good, Professor.
She'll be getting frequent flyer miles, Gelding.
Very good.
So
very good. I'd like to play the podcast back of Grant Thomas now with St Kilda sitting at 5-1, Professor.
Well, Gelding,
that would be...
What a great segue, Gelding. Go to Spotify or Apple Podcast or Google Podcast. I'm sure you've got that on your phone, Gelding. All you've got to do is plug into that. You'll be able to listen to the whole bit.
Yeah, I kind of agreed with Grant at the time, but I suppose the performances are the same at the early start, Professor. Wanted to defy some of those things. But I tell you what, it was a very, very good interview, Professor, and I certainly like some of his views.
Yeah, no, he's a real straight shooter, and it's no surprise, Gelding, that Grant Thomas's interview is at the top of the podcasts.
Oh, well, yeah. very interesting listening for
It's the most listened to. All right, now Gelding, what we'd ask the viewers to do is if they like the program, there's a little button just down underneath where our pictures are. Like it, and then go to the bell and hit that. That's subscribe, and you'll be notified whenever there's a Sports Fan Radio show on.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So Gelding, until tomorrow, and until next Saturday with That's Racing, it's good luck
and good punting.